All of these financial institutions, they buy politicians.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we're going to talk about James O'Keefe Media Group getting yet another guy on candid camera spilling the beans about his company. And this guy is a recruiter for Blackrock. Now, if you don't know what Blackrock is, they are a very large investment firm. They have about $9 trillion of assets that they manage. So you're talking about a really big group. They're into all kinds of stuff. They're into arms, and the thing you may know most about BlackRock is the real estate portfolio they have. They buy up a lot of real estate. They are a part of the whole "you're going to own nothing and be happy" type mantra we've been hearing about over the past few years. Now, as I said, there's a recruiter from BlackRock who is spilling the beans. Now, some are going to say, "Hey, ABL, or recruiter, we can't get better than that." It's like, well, come on, you're talking about BlackRock. You think you're going to get Larry Fink, the head of BlackRock, to talk on candid camera to some okay looking intern at a picnic eating cheese and wine? Like, is that going to happen? No. As a matter of fact, Larry Fink and other people like Joe Biden, if they want to say something, they'll go on TV and say it, and they won't mince any words. And before we get into the actual James O'Keefe video, let's watch a brief video of your man Larry Fink. He'll say things like this, but we're going to get into what the recruiter said in just one moment. Check it out.
Well, behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
So that's Larry Fink right there. That is a CEO of BlackRock. That's the big dog, okay? That's like the Bob Iger, the Bill Gates, the Elon. That's him. That's the man right there. He says, look, we're going to force behaviors to change. Talking about social credit score, the ESG, while a lot of companies want to be involved in the whole LGBTQ thing, although it hurts sales, it helps them when it comes to private investment, things like that, okay? So that is a big dog. Now we're going to go down to kind of a smaller fish here. Your man, Serge Varley, or Sergey, is he Russian? I don't know, but I digress. I'm not going to play the entire thing. I want you guys to watch it in full through the link in the description. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
They don't want to be in the news. They don't want people to talk about them. They don't want to be anywhere on the radar.
Why not?
I don't know, but I suspect it's probably because it's easier to do things when people aren't thinking about it.
A lot of these guys, like the big investment firms, they're not going to be out there publicly speaking. They're not going to do too much. You're not going to see them be flashy. Like if you were to see Larry Fink in the middle of New York City, you wouldn't know who he is. They're not like celebrities, rappers, singers, entertainers. They're not going to make themselves be highly visible. They want to stay as low as possible and get all the money and power as possible. That's what they do.
All of these financial institutions, they buy politicians. You can take this big ton of money, and then you can start to buy people. I work for a company called Blackrock.
Meet Serge Varley, a recruiter at BlackRock.
Let me tell you, it's not through who's the president. It's who's controlling the wallet.
I'm going to stop it at certain points because fair use. Shout out James O'Keefe. I know you're watching. Thank you for letting us use this and comment on it. And if you want to see it uninterrupted, of course, you know where it is. It's in the box. But what he's saying right here, a lot of what he's saying, many of us already know. If you watch my channel and other channels that are like mine, you already know this. If you're new to politics, this may be new to you. So I implore you to watch the whole thing.
So it's
And who's that?
the hedge funds, BlackRock, the banks. These guys run it.
In case you missed it, he's like, yo, it doesn't really matter who the president is. It matters who controls the president, who has the money. This is what's going on right now with Joe Biden. And this is why they did not like Donald Trump, because Trump largely had his own money. Now, of course, he got outside money to help with his campaign and whatnot, but he was already rich before he got into office. So there was no need for no outside people to, try and control him the same way it is with other people.
Campaign financing. Yep, you can buy your candidates. And obviously, we have the system in place. First, there's the senators, and these guys are cheap. You got 10 grand, you can buy a senator. I can give you 500K right now, no questions asked.
Yeah.
I didn't do this. Be done.
Does like everybody do that? Does Blackrock do that?
Now, people might try to say, again, because he's a recruiter, he doesn't know anything, blah, 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 blah. But what he's saying, we all know this. We all know you could buy people, you could buy senators, you can buy a president. I remember there was one video of some energy executive, somebody right next to, I think it might have been George W. Bush at the podium, and he was rushing them off, like, wrap up this speech, man. We all got all day. It might have been HW or W, one of the two. Man, get off the stage, man. We all got all day. And it's like, who are you? Are you my advisor? Are you the press secretary? It was some corporate guy of a private company, not anybody that was even in the government. But let's keep on going.
Doesn't matter who wins.
They're still right.
They're in my pocket at this point.
Here's Serge Varley on how good war is for Blackrock's business.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on the Ukraine-Russia war?
Yeah, I mean, I do have thoughts.
What are they?
Ukraine is good for business. You know that, right? I'll give an example. Russia blows up Ukraine's grain silos. Price of wheat's gonna go mad up. Ukrainian economy is tied very largely to the wheat market, global wheat market. Prices of bread, it literally everything it goes up and down. This is fantastic if you're trading. Volatility creates opportunity to make profit. War is real good for business. It's exciting when goes wrong, right? Blackrock manages 20 trillion.
Now he says BlackRock manages 20 trillion. I read that it was like 8 point something to 9 trillion, but I think that might be kind of inconsequential. The bottom line is it's quite a bit of money. It's a lot of money, a lot of assets, a lot of things that they manage all over the world. Very, very big company.
It's incomprehensible numbers.
BlackRock Serge Varley says all of this is above a normal person's understanding.
You're like an undercover reporter. I don't know. No people don't give a shit. This is beyond them.
So he recognizes that he's talking to an undercover reporter, okay, because of the questions that she's asking, but he's still continuing to speak to her. That's pretty interesting.
The whole thing of like domination from a concept is it's so interesting.
All right, I won't play this entire thing right here. Like I said, this is just the introduction. A lot of what you saw right there, that was some of the highlights for the video. He said quite a few other things. He was talking about Russia, how the war is meant to make Russia weak, which I've been saying for a long time as well. It's a proxy war. When I say they, I mean NATO, US. We want to fight Russia without going to Moscow, St. Petersburg, Siberia, anywhere like that to fight them directly. We want to fight them through Ukraine in a neutral, quote unquote, space, which is Ukraine. Rather than fighting over here in America, rather than fighting over in Russia, we're going to use Ukrainians to fight Russians to try and weaken Russia. Without NATO, without the US backing Ukraine financially, they would have been falling a long time ago. Long time ago, they would have been done. But they're continuing to hold on because of the backing from NATO and the US. Unfortunately, they're not going to win the war. But fortunately for NATO, they see it as a way to drain Russia's resources. That's all that it is. But now I want to go ahead a little bit right here because Jim Cramer caught kind of astray. Now, you guys may know who Jim Cramer is. He's over on CNBC, giving financial advice. And for a long time, a lot of people say Jim Cramer is not a good source. He sucks when it comes to financial advice. All right. And you're going to see what my man Serge or Sergey says right here about Jim Cramer.
Business. It's exciting when goes wrong, right?
Serge also speaks on BlackRock-influenced news and even gave our journalists some tips.
Based on everything we know now, when they say to sell, does that mean we should buy?
And so, yeah. It's like, Jim Cramer. If you do exactly the opposite of what he's advising, you actually make money.
Huh?
Yeah. It's like, it's called the inverse Cramer.
Inverse Cramer, that's a real thing. You see right there, this article, I'm not sure where this is. Inverse Cramer, ETF founder, explains why he bets against Jim Cramer. So is that like a Bitcoin? What is that, ETF? Y'all let me know what that is in the description But is that a real thing? Inverse Kramer ETF? That's hilarious. That is funny. But would you be surprised if there were people on mainstream media who were there to give you misinformation? Would you be surprised? Especially when it's a lot of opinion, because Kramer will give his opinion about certain things you should invest in. People call him and he just says, hey, this is what I think. This is what I feel. What if he was paid to say the exact wrong thing? You ever think about that? It's possible. I'm not saying that that's what's happening, but it's possible. Why is it that he always gives bad advice? Is it because he's giving the bad advice on purpose or what?
They don't want to be in the news.
All right, there's more. I kind of want to. There's your man.
Here is what he said.
Larry Fink recently sold $100 million worth of Blackrock.
She's like giving herself away. Like, who would know that? Who would know who the head of BlackRock is and how much stock that he sold? I mean, the questions are a little bit too obvious. Sergey, if you don't know, you're talking to like a honeypot right now. I mean, this is like on a level of what was Fang? I forget what old man said her name was. I don't want to offend nobody, so I digress.
Wow. Damn, Larry, that's not a good sign. The people who trade and make money, they do this the moment the information is out. And that info is typically disseminated at private levels first before it hits the mainstream.
Of course, that's right. Hold on. What he says right here, if you want to invest smart, there's a tracker that tracks all politicians and where they have their stocks. And you know what? He's about to get real deep right there, so I'll go ahead and just leave that there. And I will link to, again, the entire video, the full video of this expose in the description if you want to see it for yourself. But as I close, I want to say this. Shout out to James O'Keefe, making things happen. Ain't no more Project Veritas. It's James O'Keefe Media Group, OMG. Shout out to him for making things happen and getting some of these guys to spill their guts. As I said, yes, this person was a recruiter. You don't have the big dog Larry Fink, but you would never get a Larry Fink or somebody, Elon or somebody to go on candid camera and be talking. These guys are way too smart to be involved with that. The world of a CEO and big businessman is so deep and so crazy. I may speak on it one day because I know some of these guys, and the way they live is much different than a normie can really grasp, in my humble opinion. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about what was said here in this video? Have you seen the full video? Do you think that people are doing exactly what he said over at BlackRock? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I don't see the lie here. I think a lot of your mainstream news media bought and paid for, politicians bought and paid for. This is why I say local government really matters, because they're less likely to be tainted by outside money. Okay, it's not as likely that some BlackRock goon will come to Podunkville, USA, and buy off your county mayor. All right, but it's much more likely that the same person will buy off your governor, or buy off a U.S. senator, or the president, or a judge somewhere. That's much more likely, which is why I say let's have the government become much smaller and less centralized. That'd be better for all of us to reduce the possibility of corruption. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.